Hello everyone, welcome back to the Project Race channel. Now this video is a little bit different. I was very lucky to have the opportunity to race with a few of my friends and the Mclaren Esports drivers. So I thought that my team can wait a little bit and I wanted to show you guys this. You see we're lining up P2 on the grid. I'm back car guy and Lucas in 5th and Barry in 7th. Now we had default setups, preset setups, so they were awful, which is why I've had no launch. And then also, if you're wondering why I was ahead of them in the first place on the grid, they were doing donuts to start, like during qualifying. So you can see that they spun each other round, or Lucas spun Barry around, so he was on the back foot for a lot of this race, but being an esports driver, he obviously made that time back up. First pseudo paracyclist, a good friend of mine, so is Bryan Miller. He's the one who managed to get me into this lobby and the meeting with them, so I cannot thank him enough. Defending from Lucas Blakeley already, one thing I noticed about him and Barry early on was that they'll look for an opportunity at every corner. No matter what corner it is, they'll look up your inside, and it worked like every single time. They would make you feel so insecure going into one of these corners. It's very psychological driving, I noticed with them, and so I wanted to put a car between me and him. I just want to say though, before I step any further, this was a fun event, not to be taken seriously, although me and Brian did want to obviously still do the best we can, because at the end of the day it's a race, you know, you race to win. So I mean, he's already doing that at the front with Pseudo and Wilson Hughes, another brilliant driver. Pseudo is not the best, I'll be completely honest. He is part of the league I'm on, which Brian runs, and he's just got incredibly lucky off the start. Granted, he doesn't much, you see a massive shunt as they're going incredibly slow through the apex, and that's given Lucas the opportunity he needs, not taking a second rotation, bang wheels. I tried to look for a cutback, see if I can maybe get something on him again. He had a massive moment, and I have to say I was feeling quite confident, even though balanced setups against some of the best drivers in the world. I mean, weeks ago Lucas won here, and you see, I think every single time I've gone round there I've gone wide. That was my second warning on lap 2, so I really didn't want to be the guy who gets a penalty in a 25% race on regular corner cut now lap as well. But no, we're going to get past the Ferrari driver again, just to, I mean, he wasn't the best in this whole race, neither was Mr. George, you can see him last, and Barry, he's obviously had a shocking start. Down the inside of Pseudo as well. I didn't want to let Lucas and Brian and Wilson get away too quickly. I wanted the opportunity to stay with them, even if it was just for a few laps. And like I said, it was all for fun, and I wanted to have a battle with Lucas and Brian and Wilson. But you can see already that, you know, he's pulling out tenths at each lap. I was actually very proud of how much I was keeping up with him, but there are some technical corners on this track where he would gain 2 or 3 tenths, like turn 1 and the final turn. He would just pull away, and their exits were ridiculous. I mean, you look at their laps and they take so much curve, and you try and replicate and keep losing the back ends and stuff. And how are they putting the power down so quickly when they're using the run at the tape? I don't understand how they're so fast, but you can see him, he gained what, 6-7 tenths on just that lap alone. Brian spun it there, and you know, I saw these guys going slowly up ahead, and I was like, oh right, okay, they're letting him through. So we're waiting for Brian again. He was really unhappy about that, but when he said that we were all waiting for him, he was quite happy just to be back in the battle again. You can see him going past, and as soon as he passed I was like, alright, we've waited for him to get back, now we're racing again. So I did not wait to get back past Lucas, as like I said, I did want to have a battle. We're down the inside of Wilson as well. He's had a terrible exit through there. They were also quite aggressive on the turning, I found. As you can see, they're darting from side to side of the track. I mean, on one hand you could say that's quite dangerous, but on the other hand you could also say that it's quite a smart play. You can see we've forced Wilson to the inside, and he goes deep into Brian, and we go right up the inside of all of them. So we are now leading an Wilson, Lucas and Barry, as well as Bryan, who is an incredibly fast driver. He practices for league races on 110 AI at every single track, so beating him is no easy feat, let alone the other two. And at this point I was shaking, I can't lie, my legs were shaking, my arms were shaking, and I was like, this is my opportunity. We move over instantly. I guess Wilson thought we were going into the pits, which is why he didn't follow. But as soon as he realised this, he gets back into the slipstream. And we do pit this lap, but I wanted to just be in first for as long as we could. I was supposed to pit lap 5, but I said no, I want to lead for a little bit. We've got a terrible exit, you can see, going to the inside Wilson is. We're on the soft slope compared to his mediums, although that we are thinking about pitting, but we stick it round the outside. We brake later than Wilson and keep it round. We give him a little nudge just to let him know it's not going to be easy for him to get past, as Lucas is also looking at him, but he can't make anything of it. And Bryan's actually falling back a little bit, but due to me, well, not being the best driver in the world, I'll admit, he is able to catch right back up to our little pack. And I mean, I did not expect to be this high up in the grid. I said before the race I'll take a 4th place. You know, Lucas, Bryan and Wilson are the people who I knew were going to beat me. As you can see Wilson going up my inside. And you know, I said we're pitting this lap, I'm not going to fight it, so we let him straight back through. Yeah, I would have been happy with a 4th or a 5th. You know, Bryan beats me, everyone else that's 5th. Let alone being in 2nd for this race. You see we're going to pit now, just fast forwarding through onto lap 8, we go 9, sorry. We managed to jump Barry as he comes out, and this was really annoying, because if I'd been a 10th or 2 quicker on those 2 laps, we would have been ahead of Bryan, and now he's on freezing cold tyres. And you know, the gap's 1.1, 1.2 seconds, but by the end of the lap, or midway through the lap, it gets down to like 2 or 3 tenths. You can see 5 tenths already. So you know, I told him, you know, you got to hurry up, otherwise Barry is gonna catch straight back up to us. And he was very aware of that. He was pretty nervous on this lap as well, which is why he's not braking as late, putting the power down as early as he usually would be. But he is on softs, and he does manage to get them fired up pretty quickly. We actually lose DRS to him, which I was really angry about, but Bryan is already picking up their lines, and that's why he's managed to escape. I mean, a few weeks ago when I raced him like Bryan here in our league race, I wasn't that much slower, and it was also a 50% race, so strategy had a bigger play. You see we get really loose on the rear end as well on there, and Barry goes straight back up our inside. I was thinking about going up his inside, but I thought much better of it, try and get a good exit, and he's already gained 3, almost 4 tenths on the exit, which is unbelievable. It's almost like they're running traction control, but it's just pure skill, it's practice. You know, they put hours and hours and hours into these games, and like I said, I was not expecting to beat them, let alone like being in his DRS. We sent it to his inside. Now I will admit it was a bit dirty, however, when we were on that main straight, he was in AI and he started braking unbelievably early. So I had to react late, otherwise there would have been an accident, and it was as soon as I was along his inside that he came out of AI mode. He must have paused the game. So we are back ahead, however he does not waste any time, as you're going to see. Through this section he's so much quicker and he wants to catch up with Bryan. He just sends it down our inside. I saw it coming, so we try and get a good switch back on him, but he is on the softs compared to our mediums. Newer softs versus older mediums, he's going to win every day, but we do send it back down his inside. I know it's a terrible angle, but we don't manage to make it stick. I mean, even though we're all running equal setups and stuff, you know, you can see just how quick they are. I mean, if I was running my own setup, I'd be running the exact same as Lucas Blakeley since I downloaded his setup, but we managed to jump him as well in the pits. The few laps that you're about to see are probably my favourite laps on any game of the whole time I've been sim racing, since 2017 to now. These last like 2 laps were so enjoyable. He's 2.4 seconds behind us now, gaining every single corner, even though they're still moderately cold. And at this point I was overwhelmingly happy. I was ahead of Lucas, and I just wanted to keep the position, but you can see in half a lap he's already gained a second on us. We're going to let the last lap just play through, no rewinding, no fast forwarding, and this was very scary. I was so lucky for him not to get DRS on this main straight. I was saying, like, if he had that, he would have been so much closer into the next few corners, and he would have definitely got me. But luckily, we managed to keep him 6.5, 5 tenths off, and it's very hard to overtake in the rest of the sector and through sector 2, except for the DRS zone, but you have to get an incredible exit. And considering that his tyres might not be completely up to temperature too much, I was feeling quite confident. If you see how late he brakes into that corner, he closed 6-7 tenths to 3.5, 4 tenths. And I've had a terrible exit out there. I couldn't put the pound down with this preset on. And we're going to move cameras just for a second, just because the shots through there aren't very good. And he's only 2.5 tenths back. And you think about open lobbies, if someone was that close, they would have sent it down the inside of me. But he's playing strategically. He wants to get me when he sees a mistake or something, which is what you're about to actually see now. I had a terrible, terrible line through there. And he's desperate for 4th place, and he hits my rear. We're around, you can see him waiting. I guess he thought that was his fault, but down this rest of the straight, I felt like I was definitely to blame. I mean, I was kind of going through my head like, he's an esports driver, he knows what he's doing, so the incident is my fault. Barry and Wilson had an incident. Barry ended up getting like 30 seconds of penalties. We let Lucas go, but he spins it on purpose anyway, and we get P3, Wilson spinning at the end. So a 1-3 for Mercedes. I hope you guys enjoyed this different video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did racing it, and I guess I'll see you all in the next My Team episode. So, see you then.